I figured we'd go ahead and kind of break this up into a couple of different parts. Since I was just talking about some generalized things before, I figured I'd go ahead and make this particular segment of the video about the actual trigger itself. So in a nutshell, let's go ahead and just verify that this is clear. This is clear, we're good to go, so we can safely drop the hammer. Oh, also, just as an FYI, I do have my nice little O-ring in there, which is essentially my snap cap. So the hammer falls against the snap cap instead of the firing pin. So in case anybody's wondering what the heck is going on there, that's the situation. So gun's clear, let's go ahead and cock it. We'll talk about single action real quick. Single action in this particular gun is really slick. I like it a lot. Now again, let's talk about the trigger real quick. I have a 13-pound mainspring or hammer spring from Wilson Combat in here. So the factory is 20, the D is 18, 17, something like that. Wilson makes a 16. It was still a little bit heavier than I wanted, so I figured what the hey, since I reload with Federal 100 primers, small pistol primers, let's make this sucker as light as possible and see what we can get away with. So with my unofficial trigger finger gauge, double action is probably about 7.5 pounds, maybe 8. And the single action is high 3s, low 4s. So we've got pre-travel, which is a little bit gritty. It feels mechanical. It's not super light like on the P09 where you can just feel the spring tension of your trigger spring. This is a little bit heavier. You're moving your firing pin block out of the way. You can feel it. So what you want to do is you're going to come right past the pre-travel. You're going to come to the sear wall, and then you're going to go ahead and break the trigger, and the hammer will fall. Now, there is almost no over travel. There's a little bit. There's always going to be some over travel inherent in these systems unless you dial it out. And even then, mechanically, for the guns to reset, you're going to have just a little bit of over travel in there. It's all about how much you're willing to accept. So, in my mind, P09, Beretta M92A1, over travel is fine. There's not too much. Like say on a Glock where you add the negative connector, which has a lot of over travel. This is just a minimal amount of over travel. Now for the double action, holy man, this is smooth. There's very little stacking associated with it. The only stacking that you really have is essentially overcoming that half cock notch. You can feel that. You can also hear it. Beyond that, it's completely smooth. From start to finish, it's completely smooth. Now, it is 7.5, 8 pounds. It's not exactly light. On the P09, you've got basically with these 13-pound hammer springs and the almost 5,000 rounds that I have through this gun at this point, you've got what is essentially, it's like 5.5, 6 pounds. I mean, this is a light double action throw on that particular gun. So you've got a little bit heavier situation going on with the Beretta. It's not unworkable, but it definitely is a little bit heavier. But because it's so smooth, it's really easy to shoot. So in a nutshell, that's the trigger characteristics of this. I'll go ahead and display the reset for you real quick. So let's cock this, let's shoot it, drop the hammer, rack the slide. And as you can see, the reset is also, just like the P09, very short. In fact, the reset on this is probably shorter than the P09. This is similar in length, say a 1911. It's very short. So shooting this gun at speed, once you've got the trigger mechanics down, you know where the reset point is, it's very easy to do. So trigger on the M92A1 is one of the reasons why I bought this gun. It's very cool. It's proving to be a fairly fun toy for me. Whether or not it's going to replace the P09, I doubt it. But I'm definitely going to spend some time with it and see what happens.